A wise person once said that to find out who rules you, discover who it is you're not allowed to criticize. And there certainly is a group of people on the earth that we're simply not allowed to criticize. If we say the names of these people on our YouTube clips, we often get in a great deal of difficulty. We get trolls, we get certain leagues put forth by certain countries which try to silence us, and the algorithms pick up on the words. You can't even type the name of these people in YouTube or Facebook very much anymore because the post gets instantly deleted. So that should certainly tell you something. So I'll just refer to them as the men in small hats. The men in small hats believe that they should be the only people on this earth, and that there should only be 500 million of the rest of us, and that we all should be bred together and all one race and all coffee-coloured people and all androgynous and all just work for them, because they believe the earth to be a finite resource that simply can't support the amount of people that it has already, and so it should be all of theirs. And when you look at the worst mass slaughters and mass holocausts and mass exterminations of people in history, again, what your attention is drawn to is Bolshevism. Bolshevism, just the story of the gulags, where approximately 66 million people were killed. But there was also the extermination that happened from the Russian Revolution. You know, between 1917 up to 1991, which is quite recently, folks, it's just the other day. And they don't even know the figures, there's so many. It was somewhere between 60 to 135 to 145 million people were killed during that period. You look at the last 100 years, 262 million people were killed by their own governments. Democide has always been the leading cause of death on this earth, no matter what they tell you, folks. And the medical industry is not there to help you. The medical industry is there to make you sick. They feed you pharmaceuticals, feed you all this crap that they want in your body so that you are permanently enslaved to them. The only time you need one of those people in that medical industry is if you break a bone. You know, they can go and reset it for you. That's about the only time I ever go to any of those doctors, folks. You know, because they're not there to help you. You know, and people need to see how we've been set up by these men with small hats, because it was the men with small hats who ran the whole Bolshevik revolution and exterminated all of those people. These same people who wear small hats have infiltrated themselves into all of our governments all around the world, even the government here in Australia. Look at the Premier of New South Wales. Do you think that's an Australian, folks, really? You know, I would say that the Premier of New South Wales, whatever its name is, the parasite, the criminal, Barra Jerkoff, something like that. The same with the Premier of Queensland. I mean, all of these people have interests that belong to foreign powers, ladies and gentlemen, all of them. None of them support the Australian people. All of them support the depopulation agenda, which is going on right around the world. It's been done by the men in small hats. That's who's behind the whole thing. That's who's behind the migrant influx into Europe. There was a document that came out in 1928 called the Kalergi Plan, which talks about the genocide of the people of Europe via mass migration and a complete breakdown of European culture and how this needed to be done, you know, in order for their master plan to come about, you know. So that's who's really running the show, folks. That's who set it up, because that's who controls all of our governments. Regardless of where you are, that's who's in control of your government, folks. If you're in the West, that's who's in control of your government. These people have infiltrated into all levels of our society, and they've been able to do it under the guise of, you know, victimhood. You know, they present themselves as the great victims and the undertrodden victims of the world who've always been exterminated and expelled and had a hard time. Everybody's always given them a hard time. And they have, because of what these people do to societies. And as a result, they were kicked out of something like 168 countries, or 80 countries 168 times or something. I don't know. I mean, the figures, it's hard to work out, how many times, because they've just been kicked out of so many places. So do you think they wouldn't have a little bit of a need for revenge, or a little bit of lust for revenge, for all the people who have thrown them out over the years when they've gotten in there and tried to pollute their society? And what they've done, folks, is they've managed to infiltrate into most countries of the world and pollute the world. And now they are carrying out mass genocide of the people of the world through starvation. And those that are left will be chipped and will be vaccinated and will be put into the smart cities.